This is the It's My Time podcast with Asher Tchoua.
Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, glad to be here. How's it going?
Good. Yourself?
Fantastic.
So, tell me a little bit about yourself since we're meeting for the first time.
Sure. Okay. My name is Skyler Dennis. I am the head marketing director and strategist of 90 Day Legacy Builders. And I hail from Louisiana, Southern Louisiana. Now I'm located in Houston and marketer by trade. So initially I started off working for a bunch of different companies in terms of their marketing program. Some you probably heard of like AT&T, Charbroil, American Airlines, Samsung, did marketing for all those companies. And then in 2015, I wrote my first book. It was a self-help book called How to Cheat Death. And then from there, I decided if I'm going to do marketing, I might as well do it for myself. So branched out on faith and started my own publishing company. And I started the marketing division for our company. And the rest is history, man. Been rocking ever since.
Awesome, man. I guess, how did you get into marketing of all things?
Good question. So basically, I actually started with marketing through network marketing. So a close friend of mine who was my mentor, he introduced me to network marketing and I immediately fell in love with it. I fell in love with the aspect of the personal development aspect, which was huge for me. Just constantly listening to positive material, being around positive people, reading the books. It was something that from my hometown, never heard of. It's something that nobody does. Nobody reads where I'm from. Nobody listens to positive material where I'm from,
right.
You know? And so that immediately caught my eye, just the fact that I'm around all these people that think differently. They talk differently. They're always talking about what's possible. They're always talking about stuff that they're going to have instead of stuff that is in their current reality. And that immediately attracted me to it. And then I realized he kind of made me realize my gift of influence that I didn't realize I had before. And so he taught me how to use it, cultivated it. And from there, I just had a love for just influencing people in a positive way. Nowadays, I think that media and all things we have going on are influencing people in the negative way. So I love being a counterweight to that. I love being the yang to everything that's going on in society now. So,
gotcha. And I guess coming from your background, the environment that you came up in, like, how did you meet your mentor then? Since nobody really does that, nobody reads, nobody looks at things in that way.
So we actually worked together. We worked at AT&T. So I kind of started from the ground up. I was in college, broke college student. I was willing to take any job anybody would give me. I was tired of eating bologna and bread every day. Literally, me and my brother, we stayed together. We ate bologna and bread every day in college. And so I was willing to take whatever job I could get. And so AT&T is the first that gave me a chance. And he was a salesperson there. And he eventually became a manager, then eventually started his own company and left there. But met him, he was a sales rep there, and I was like sales support. It was like the lowest on the totem pole in terms of the company. And I just stuck to him like a rug. I was immediately attracted to his personality. And just, like I said, his positiveness, the way he was the top seller every single month. I just naturally gravitated toward, and most people do, you gravitate toward success. You gravitate toward people who are doing it, the top people in the industry. And so I said, if I wanted to have his results, I had to mimic him. So I would just follow around and just mimic everything he did to the point where like people thought we were twins. Like I would talk like him. I would walk like him. I mean, everything I'm telling you, like we were like, literally I was the spitting image. If he was somewhere, I was right behind him. And so we attracted then when he found his business in terms of network marketing, I was the first person he called, or one of the first people he called, and he put me on. It was a no-brainer for me. I jumped on, and like I said, the rest is history, man. Been rocking ever since with that regard.
Oh, you need a minute? If you need a minute, okay.
Give me just a minute.
Okay.
Let's get back. Let's do this right.
Cool. So, you tell me how you met your mentor.
Yeah. So basically that was it. We connected through our job, and then from there, I just mimicked him. And I think that's very important in terms of when you find somebody that's doing what you want to do or successful in the area, just copy them. It's okay to copy. The problem that most people have is not that they're being a copycat, is that they're copying the wrong cat. You gotta find the right cat and copy that one.
Right.
So that's what I did. I latched on to him, man, and because of that, I've met with so many opportunities. It's expanded my mind to the person I am today. I would not be the person I am today and have the success that I have now if it was not for him and the lessons that he taught. So shouts out to Mr. Mal Robinson if he's ever watching.
Awesome. So so you went from AT&T to where'd you go from there?
Okay, so man, it's a long journey. Okay, so from AT&T, like I said, I went and branched off into doing business with him, and had some success, and that business actually wound up failing. And so from there, I went and I did some marketing for the company Charbroil. Worked for them for a while, then branched off into Samsung. And from Samsung, then to American Airlines. And then at that point, probably around the Samsung area, I was actually building my business. So I put my book out, started building my business. And then from the American Airlines, I kind of started tapering off and doing my own thing.
Gotcha. And I guess that with your book, you said it was titled Cheating Death.
Yeah, How to Cheat Death. Yeah.
How to Cheat Death. Gotcha. How did that come about, and kind of like what inspired you to write the book, and can you tell me a little bit about it, because that's eventually what led to you starting your own publishing business with Jamonica.
Yeah. So that book is specifically for people who are looking for a purpose. They're trying to find their purpose. What I found was that I wrote it in my 20s. A lot of 20-year-olds are trying to navigate the space of life, and they just don't know what to do. They go to college. We go to college, and we go and do what we think we want to do. You spend 4 or 5, 6 years doing something. Then some people actually go into the space and realize, I hate this. I found that whenever I was initially going to be a pharmacist, and I worked in high school and a little bit right before college in the pharmacy, and realized I hated it. And so luckily I learned early, but I meet people all the time who work jobs, and they spent all this time to get this career that they thought they wanted. Maybe their parents told them they needed to do it or whatever. And they find out it's not in line with who they are, or they just plain hate it. And so I wrote this book for people who needed to redirect. You needed to look, I've been going down this path, and I realize now that it's not my path. I've been following someone else's path that they made out for me. And so now I want to deviate and choose my own path, but I don't know exactly how to do that. How do I identify my gifts? How do I apply those gifts into making money and making a fortune? And then the second part of the book is about building that legacy. Everybody needs to be focused on their building something that they can pass down. I always equate it to building a tree, where you can plant seeds today, and because of those seeds you planted today, it bears fruit that your family will have to eat forever. Like they can always pass that tree down and always take fruit off of that tree, and it'll feed them for the rest of their life. The problem with most people is that they focus on their first name, building their first name, getting fame, being Instagram famous, being Facebook famous. They focus on building their first name, not their last. Building your last name is building that Buffett name, that Bill Gates name, that Steve Jobs name. The people who families, Sam Walmart, they're people who families will eat forever, and then their family will always remember who they are. The Walmart family will never forget Sam Walmart, because he sacrificed today so that they can eat for the rest of their lives and generations to come. That's what everyone needs to do. So I built that book with those people in mind, and I wrote it. It's How to Cheat Death: 7 Keys to Overcoming a Dead Broke Mentality, and it's an incredible book. It's a fictional. It's fiction, half part fiction, half part nonfiction. So I introduced it with stories of a character who's going through life like we go through, and then I give you the lesson right after. So, you know, I capture people with the story. You're always looking for that next thing that's going to happen to Malcolm, who's the main character. And then in between, I add lessons and say, okay, this is what you need to take from this story. You know, instead of some books, you know, they let you come up to the conclusion yourself, but I kind of give it to you. I realize common sense isn't always that common.
That's a good point. That's awesome. So, I mean, how long ago did you write that? And I guess, yeah.
Oh man, so we released it in 2015. I mean, it probably took me around 6 months to write it.
Okay.
In terms of writing it, editing it, and everything, it was definitely a process. Luckily for us and our clients, we're able to compress that time for them significantly. We're able to get them to do everything in 90 days. And then, you know, the marketing aspect is a little bit later, but publishing now takes 90 days, whereas it took us like 6 months to be able to do everything from start to finish. So we've learned to help our clients to compress time, because time is our most valuable asset.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess for that, was it difficult for you to write, or was it just taking from your experiences and are you naturally gifted at writing to where you just like made it within 6 months? Because for some people it takes like years and years to write books.
Heck no. Writing is definitely not my gift. I would say that grammar's not my gift. Actually, English was my lowest score on the ACT. So we take the ACT. So my English was actually my lowest score. So no, I'm not a writer by trade or by any means. I just had a message that I needed to get out. And luckily we have some incredible editors that make me look good. So, but no, I just had a message that I wanted to get out. The way I did it is I wrote it in the way I would speak. So as I'm speaking to you, I wrote that book based on like if we were having a conversation. Now, as for the story aspect, you know, you have to get a little creative, and I did it very rudimentary. Like I did the web diagram and mapped it out like that. Then I did an outline, and then I just added stuff to it, and literally like throughout the day as I'm thinking, I carried a notebook with me for the entire 3 to 4 months that it took me to write it. I carried a notebook everywhere I went because I knew that the ideas were going to come from everywhere. So every moment of the day, you'll see me writing. And I still do it to this day, actually. I carry a little journal with me. Anybody can tell you if they see me carrying a black notebook, and I'm writing down notes. I'm writing down journals. I'm writing down things that I'm grateful for. I'm writing down ideas of things for business and whatever. I invite people to do that. Always carry notes. Carry a notebook around, because your most valuable ideas, you're probably just passing them by. Like you're just dismissing them. Like, oh, that's something that could be great, but you know, I'm not gonna do anything with it. But write it down, and maybe 6 months when you're ready, or 3 months, or 90 days, or a year from now, you'll look back in that notebook and say, wow, this was an incredible idea. I need to act on it. But if you don't have it written down, you'll never be able to do anything with it.
Got you. So did the book come first, or was it the publishing company?
The book definitely came first. So the book came first. We published it. We didn't have any success with it at first, but initially, after we were able to create the marketing process we have now, we had so much success. Our book became like an international bestseller. We were like the #1 book in Russia for a long time. After that, people started asking us and saying, hey, how did you do it? How did you have so much success with your book? And so we decided to just help people, you know, just give them advice and walk people through it. And then eventually I was like, well, my mentor was actually like, if you do something well, charge for it. Right. And so we decided to build a company, and You know, we've been able to help hundreds of people to be able to feel stuck in the writing process, in the publishing process, or in just the marketing process. 9 out of 10 authors don't sell any books. The only books that they actually sell are the ones that they buy or the one that their publisher buys for them, and then they just give them out. So we're blessed to be able to give people a platform. And the best thing about our business is that we don't just market your book. We market you. We help you build a brand. And from there, you're able to build a business just like I did. I was able to build a speaking career off of my book, not just a publishing company. We were able to do consulting for different small businesses because of our book. And what we did is we required, see, I'm about to give you all of our free game right now. We require our clients to buy our book, which just adds another revenue. Every client has to buy our book so that they can understand the process and the train of thought, because 10% of success is what to do. This is very small. And people don't understand that. Everybody wants to know how to do something. In terms of, because I do stock trading, 10% is actually knowing how to stock trade. 90% is the mentality. 90% is getting out of the broke mentality. 90% is the controlling your emotions so that you don't do business stuff emotionally. Because really, my first business that I told you about that failed, it wasn't because it was a terrible business. It's because I wasn't emotionally sound. So I started doing things with my money that wasn't fruitful to the business. I didn't understand reoccurring capital. I didn't understand that delayed gratification. I was like, man, spin. Who wants a bottle? You want a bottle? My boy wants some shoes? You get some shoes too. And so I was very unfruitful with my money. And so I had to pay the price, unfortunately, with that. But that was a learning process. So.
Got you. So I know you mentioned that, so you wrote the book first, and obviously you needed editors to help you write the book. So how did you meet your editors?
Connections. So networking. One thing about entrepreneurship, networking is everything. You have to connect with different people. So me building relationships with people and telling them what I needed, then they connect you with other people. Right. And so just like, Miss Nunnery, she connected us. And that's the whole game. Foundation of entrepreneurship is that every person that we employ, or rather we contract, is through connections. We were introduced by someone who introduced another person to us, who introduced us to that person, connected us with that person, and and do that. So it's all networking and connections.
Okay. So I meant you met them, like the networkers that are not networkers. Are the editors that you work with now through your business, are they the same people that you met when you first wrote your book?
So no, we grew to that. We grew to that. When you get to different levels of success, you attract different types of people. You attract what you need based on your level. So so a lot of people, they'll focus on, I need this person. I need this person to be successful. I think that what we did was we put our head down, we grinded, we worked, and then we naturally attracted people to us that when we got to a certain level, they wanted to be associated with us. They were like, oh, y'all are doing it big. I know somebody who could probably take you to the next level. But if you don't ever get to the level, if you don't ever do the work to get to the first level, the first stage, you will never be able to attract the person that can take you to the next stage. You gotta max out level 1 and start approaching level 2 so that you can meet the person that can say, boom, I'm going to help you to jump that level.
Gotcha.
It's like Super Mario. In some boards in Super Mario, you can do it yourself, but on some boards you gotta have Yoshi. And so, but you can never get Yoshi until you get to a certain level. Then you get Yoshi, and then Yoshi helps you to get to that next level of the game. Gotcha. Same concept.
Okay. So like, I get what you're saying. I was just asking, like, on a personal level, like, how did you went from like working with AT&T, you met your mentor through the same company, you guys, like, you were attracted to him by the way that he presented himself, and then from that you guys built a business, and it didn't work out from your standpoint because of the way that you were managing your money. But I was asking, during that time that you were doing the business, was it just through like a networking event where you met an editor that was like, hey, I've had this idea on my mind to write a book, and they said, oh yeah, I can do that? Or was it just someone specific that connected the two of you together?
Yeah, so definitely it was meeting certain people who connected me to those people. So for example, the very first editor that we had, the very first professional editor that we had, I was connected with well, of course, my older brother. He's a principal.
Okay.
Who he had a principal, close friend of his that was a principal, and she. I was talking to them. We were having dinner. We were at dinner, at a Mexican restaurant. And I was talking to them about business and things were going. And then I was talking about how we needed someone to be able to edit, because the person that edited our book wasn't always available. It was a friend. It was a close friend that did it, so they weren't really serious about it. It wasn't business for them. It was just kind of a hobby, or, something they did for me as a favor. And from that conversation, I get a call back maybe a couple of days later, and they're like, "Hey, I got this incredible guy who might be interested in doing editing as a side hustle, and you might be able to talk to him and doing that." And we discussed it. This person was a highly accredited English teacher in all of the state of Louisiana. He actually wrote the curriculum for the English departments or whatever. And we connected, we talked, and built a great relationship. Till this day, still an incredible relationship. He's big time now, so he doesn't do too much work for us. But when we started, we just started small. Say, hey, I have a small company. I'm just starting. I'm trying to just help people right now. We discuss pay and contracting and everything like that, and then we agreed on terms, and boom, he was on our team.
So I guess what's the thank you for that response.
Sure.
I'm curious, what's the story behind how you and Jamonica met, or do you guys also have like other business partners, but how did the two of you specifically meet?
Great question, man. Through college, we both attended the same college. We had mutual friends. I think that we just kind of saw each other every once in a while, because we ran in the same circles. And then I'm not exactly sure when we had our first conversation, but I knew when we had our first conversation, this was somebody I wanted to be friends with. Just like the way she thought, it was just different from any thinking that any woman I have ever met. It just in those terms, like just the way she saw situations, and I don't even know if we were talking business back then, but just the conversations we had about life and politics and religion and everything. She just thought so different, and I was like, wow, this is a person I have to be friends with. So we cultivated a friendship first, and then from our friendship, we were having discussions all the time, like deep discussions all the time. And we were like, man, people need to hear these discussions. And so what we did was we created a blog. And so we created a blog where both of us would write and just give our opinion, back and forth opinion about what we thought about different subjects, about what was going on in maybe pop culture or what's going on in society, whatever. And then from there, or even business. And then from there, our blog was such a success that a lot of people were just commenting and saying, man, y'all need to put this information into a book. Y'all need to just put all this information into a book. And so from there, we kind of mapped it out of what we're going to do, and then we took some of the material. A lot of the material that we did put in the book was like brand new, but the basis of what we had came from our blog. We used that material from our blogs to put it together, and then we fine-tuned it, and then we created a book. And then, like I said, from the book, we actually created the company. Okay. And we've been partnering. And yeah, Jamonica and I, we've been partners. We have multiple ventures that we've done. We do real estate. We do stocks and like different investments, startup companies. e-commerce. So we built multiple different businesses from that one relationship that we built a long time ago.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you guys were able to do that from build the other ventures from starting at the publishing company, or starting with the blog, which built the publishing company.
Most definitely, yeah.
It's pretty
and
cool.
And for everybody, look, we started with nothing. So for people who think that they have to start with so much money and all this and know all these people, we literally started as two college students who became friends, who would just wanted to get our, like, just let other people hear our conversations. And from there, from humble means, like literally $0, we built all of the stuff that we have now. And so that's a testament to anybody who's starting from scratch. Right. Look, you can do it, because we did it.
That's awesome. But I mean, it also, I know $0, but also graduating from college, being able to find work and then save some of that up, wasn't that somewhat helpful, being able to rely on your own, or did you have to do like fundraising or anything like that?
So it did come with some investment later down the line to scale. Getting started, we literally started with nothing. Like literally, we started everything we have with nothing. To scale, it took investment. So to go from of course, we need ads and things of that nature. Yeah. We went from just helping friends to helping the world. You have to scale. It costs money to scale. And you have to put up initial investment to do that. And then, you use recurring capital from the money that you make. So yes, we did have to, after we started building, but literally from when we started with nothing. Right. Like from day one, we started with nothing. And then to scale, we did have to invest.
Gotcha.
So, and we didn't have any investors. No, we didn't fund. Not saying you shouldn't. Right. I mean, that's great that they had. I don't know if they had crowdfunding when we started. They might have, but we definitely didn't know anything about it. We started from our own pockets. We didn't have any investors. We had meetings with investors. Nothing that panned out in terms of like we couldn't work out percentages and everything. But literally, we haven't had any investors.
Got you. And I know you mentioned the blog did well, so, and your book also did well. So is the book that you wrote, did the two of you write it together, or did you wrote that book and then the two of you wrote a book together as well?
Yes. So the initial book, we both wrote it. So the way that worked is that we took the blogs that we both worked on, put that together. From there, I took everything and I kind of put a different creative touch, which I created like the stories and stuff like that, like all of the stories. And then Jamonica went through. Of course, she read through it, added a couple of things, and then the lessons she put her heart into. She put her heart into all of the lessons after that. So yeah, we definitely both created the book, and I mean she probably took it more serious than I did initially, because I mean she went over and over and over and read it again and again and again. Literally, after I wrote it, I sent it to her. I was like, all right, I'm done.
So really, I guess that maybe that's the question I was trying to ask earlier. So really, she was like the first editor, since you guys were like working on the project back and forth, but then to get it to how you guys wanted it, like you went and looked outside of yourselves through networking and met other editors.
Yeah, so you're very right. She was our first editor. She actually allowed I think it was her grandmother, to edit it as well. And then from there, we published it, and then we got some reviews saying that we had misspellings and things in it. So that's when we said, hey, we probably need to find somebody a little more professional to do it instead of just family, which is where I reached out to a friend of mine who went ahead and did the editing for us. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, I guess you could say she was our initial editor. I don't know how much grammatically how efficient she was on that, but she was definitely our editor. I mean, but she is very detail oriented. So everything she does, she has to make sure it's perfect. Not so much. I put everything into it the first time, and I'm like, all right, boom, that's it. Right. But she is very like critical of herself, and she's double checking and triple checking. So we definitely have a great balance.
Awesome. So I one question I'm curious to ask you is, as you've had success with the book, with the company and other ventures, have you seen a lot of people locally in Louisiana reaching out to you and wanting to learn from you guys, or do you still see the environment around you with people that are like maybe not naysayers, but kind of reluctant to like, okay, hey, I see you're doing well for yourself. Like, let me join, or let me come learn from you?
Yeah, so I would say, good question. I would say that, of course, now people see the results, so everybody believes in you now.
Right.
It's easy to believe whenever like I go back to the tree example. It's easy to believe when you already have the tree and it's there and it's bearing and the fruits ripe and everything like that. People can come and eat, but it's when you're actually planting it and you're not seeing anything and you're watering it and everything like that. Then of course you have a lot of people who didn't believe in you. I had a lot of friends and family, especially family, man, that didn't believe in us at first. They, on both sides, for both of us, they didn't believe in us at first. As far as Louisiana did show us love. We a number of our first clients in terms of our consulting and probably speaking too came from like our Louisiana connections. So Louisiana did support us initially and got us effective. I mean, got us going. What I would say is, in the beginning, like your friends and family, I would use them as practice. Like I wouldn't so much rely on their support, because all they can do is see you as the person you were, or the person before you're the business owner. They can't really see you for what you're trying to become. Right. And so those are the people you use for practice. Like I use my family to practice my scripts and my pitches and my speaking. I use them to practice. I would call them and say, hey, can I run this this script by you? I just wrote this script out for to try to get a speaking engagement. Can I run it by you? And they'll be like, yeah, sure, and give me feedback. And so one thing that entrepreneurs have to know is that initially, success is a lonely journey. It's a lonely road. The only thing you really have is your hope and your belief. That's it. That's all you have. That's all you can rely on. Until you have the breakthrough of success, then, like I said, everybody believes in you. Everybody wants to help you. No one wants to help you when you're first starting. And so don't feel bad if you're going through that. If you're in that process now, it's temporary. Just keep grinding. Put your head down. Just keep going to that level. Finish level 1. Go to the next level. Finish level 2, and I promise you, you're once you level up to maybe level 2, level 3, you'll start seeing people to believe in you and help you.
Got you. Awesome. One last question I'd like to ask you is, what's something you gained from the year 2020?
All right, so I'm gonna be honest. Actually, this is gonna sound terrible, but 2020 was actually one of our best years, because you had a lot of people who had time to quarantine. They were in quarantine, so they had time to write. They had time to finish the book that they had set aside for years and get it done. 2020 was a blessing for us in business aspect. And your question was, what did I learn from it?
What did you learn, or just something that you gained? Because I know the reason I asked the question is that what was gained, because a lot of people are pointing to what's lost. And even now, like, a lot of things highlight what's lost. But what I like to do with this podcast or platform is really highlight everyday people in your neighborhood, people in your background, people that are like your neighbors, your friends, that may not get the shine that's like kind of pumped out there through mainstream or whatnot, but really just taking the time to connect with people I see around me and people I'd like to get to know, like yourself, and just be like, okay, hey, like how are you doing life?
Okay. Man, that's a really good question. So I would say the number one thing that I learned is that is that no matter what season you're in, there's someone winning. You just have to find out who it is and how they're doing it. So even in times of war, when they're like the recession, when times of war, there was a company that was winning in terms of like people who sell military equipment, people who are getting government contracts. These people were winning. Even during COVID, you have people who are winning in the stock market. You have people who are winning in certain businesses like e-commerce businesses and things of that nature. So in any season, winter, most people want to give up in winter. They're like, oh man, this is a terrible time and this is so tough and everybody's losing jobs and everybody's going through that. And yes, that happened. Some people lost family, some people lost jobs, some people lost everything. And I'm very sensitive to that fact. What I will say that is you do need to have a change in perspective. So yes, times are tough. Yes, you're going through a tough time, but there's someone when you're going through that time that's winning. You need to align yourself with the winners and do what they're doing, even if it's temporary. If we're going through a quarantine, find out who's winning during this quarantine and then do what they're doing. If they're making content every day, then you need to be making content every day. If they are they're putting themselves out with Facebook ads, then you need to start saving up money and ramping up and putting everything you have in the Facebook ads. If whatever's popping, I'm gonna gravitate toward whatever's popping. I learned this from Derek Grace, one of the entrepreneurs I look up to in terms of he has the home banking system and home re-education system for kids. I love all of his material. One thing he said is that he continues to readjust. He continues to repivot. Every time something is hot, he keeps his ear to the streets. Every time something is hot, he jumps on it. It's a reason why it's hot. Mm-hmm. But you have to be adaptable. You have to be always laser focused on what's the next thing and then align your business with it. And don't be afraid to fail. Get out there and say, man, I'm going to put what I got toward this. And if it does great, boom, I got another stream of income. If I don't, boom, I have these other ones. But you have to find out what the winners are doing and then duplicate what they're doing. And it goes back to what I said at the beginning of the podcast. What did I tell you? People, it's not about copycatting. It's about copying the right cat.
Right. Awesome.
See, well, I brought that full circle. You like that,
I like that. Even just like the phrasing, I like that. It's like just copy the right cat.
Copy the right cat. That's what it's about.
I appreciate the time, Skyler. Let the people know where they can find you online or offline.
Look, I thank you for what you're doing. I thank you for your platform. I thank you for everyone out there who's doing what you're doing in terms of giving out free information and connecting people with people that they probably would never have met before. So definitely kudos to you. If you're looking for me, you can find me at 90 Day Legacy Builders on Instagram. The Sky's the Limit on Instagram as well. 90 Day Legacy Builders on Facebook. 90 Day Legacy Builders on Twitter. It's all the same. So check us out. Awesome. And if you're looking for services, if you're looking to write a book or you're looking to market your book, 90daylegacybuilders@gmail.com. Send me a quick email and we respond back in a quick fashion. So thank you again for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Have a good one.
You too.
This is the It's My Time podcast with Asher Tchoua.